You want to have more flowers or make more money with the profit margin, you can. I'll show you exactly what to do with this trick. Come on, let's go. Today what we're doing is we're looking for something that we can clone on the side of these dahlias. Now, a lot of these are already damaged by frost, and that's okay. But what we're going to do is go down through here and try to pick side shoots. Actually, I just found one. This is crazy. Here it is. You have the stem coming down, the main branch. Here is a side shoot right here where my finger comes out, and then I'm going to gently break it off just like that. The most important part for cloning is that you need little foliage to get started. So you want to break your side foliage off here and come out with one main stem. Let's see. It's hard to do it with one hand. You'll end up with something like this. You ever thought about saving money with something like this? Every time that we're purchasing wholesale tubers, they're around $2 a piece. That I just literally picked in seconds. This morning, in probably about an hour, we've already picked hundreds. At $2 a piece, if this was a tuber, well, you've saved tremendously just in that period of time, and now your profit margin goes completely up because you don't have to repay yourself for the fact that you bought the tuber. I'm going through right now and I'm looking for specifics. I'm looking for side shoots that do not have frost damage at this point. I found another one that has a little damage on the top from frost, but we'll try it out. It never hurts to try. And I'll just break that one right off. Then I have one more, and then we repeat the process. Everything behind me that you see, I want to try to get clones off of. So we're not going to really dig anything up or cut anything back until we can get as many clones as we want and need off of these. It's a way to save money as well as have a good return on your investment. Let's head to the indoor grow room and get these things in some soil. All right, we made it about 5 minutes down the road and we transitioned in here in the basement. This is our growing area. It's about 1,500 square foot down here. We have where we put our seedlings and clones at. And then behind the camera here, we have quite a few growing lights, about 120, maybe 110 to 120 growing lights behind that. And right here is where we do our cloning. It's nothing special that we're doing here. And there's a million ways or 1,000 ways to get to the ending result. This is just what works for us. I have a 4x4 pot. Last year when I was doing cloning, I had 24 count plug trays, and those worked great. But the thing is that there was some stunts in it, and they grow very quickly. After they hit about 3.5 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks, they start to grow very quickly when they decide that they want to root. What kind of substrate are we using in here? Well, we got it mixed up and we have a little bit of moisture to the soil, so it makes it a little bit easier to take, but we're not going to bottom water these in. We'll do something a little bit different that I'll talk more in depth in next few minutes. Our substrate that we use is a Professional Grow Mix by SunGrow, and it's a 3.8 cubic foot bag of soil that we mix up and we put into all of our pots. It doesn't have to be something special, but it needs the right correct nutrients to get started. We grow a lot in pots and there's not even a transition of slowing down. Once we cut them back out of the field, we bring them into here with no vernalization. We don't rest them. We just literally dry them out for about a week, put them in here, transition it, and then they start growing. I'm going to go ahead and get some soil in these and have them ready so it's just easy, quick pace when we drop these rooted cuttings in. Now that I have a couple of pots ready, this is the next step that we're going to do. We're going to grab our dahlias. It doesn't matter what kind of dahlia it is. It all works the same way. These are all the side shoots that I had pulling off of frosted plants that had some damage. I've got one in my hand here. There's a little bit too much foliage on here, so what I'm going to do is easily cut that off so it doesn't leave too much damage, and that's what you're left with a pair of baby leaves. Look how long that is. Now that's what, 8 or 9 inches right there. So what you have to do is come up here and cut, and I cut it at 45. Now that you have something that looks like this, a couple inches 2 to 3 inches long, and you have your set of foliage at the top. Now it's time to put in rooting compound. This right here is the rooting compound that I use. It's Hormex rooting powder. And basically you just take the stem, dip it in there, swirl it around, come out with something like that. Now it's time to set in the substrate. All right, we have our 4x4 container with the rooted compounding on it, and it is at a 45 degree. We have our foliage up top. We literally just stick it down in the center of the soil, enough where it's going to get some water. And just what I do is I just push down. I've got me another one. Now we're going to repeat this step about, I don't know, 40 more times. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. $32 saved here. Just like that. One of the couple of things that I think of when we're cloning, are you going to save seed for the year? Or are you going to save the tuber and divide, or you're going to clone? Well, the thing is if you divide, you can do that, and which I recommend every 3 years to do that. But at this point, when you're cloning, you get exactly what the mother is. With a seed, you don't know that. The seed can come in some various form because of pollination coming through to some other dahlia right down the road or right down the aisle from your other ones. So you want to know that you're getting exactly the same plant. And how we do that is by cloning. Something to think about is the temperature. Some people use heat mats. I don't. Your soil needs to be at least 60 degrees to have optimal growth. Now, when you are planting these, most people recommend that you have 80 degrees of your soil, like a heat mat or something underneath of them. It just takes a little bit longer to root if the soil is a little bit colder. How long do I expect it to stay in a 4x4 container? A month to a month and a half, because you want the whole entire container, when you wiggle this thing around and pull it up, you want it to be an entire root ball. And those root balls will eventually turn into tubers about 2 weeks later after that month and a half. So at 2 months, you should have small little tubers ready to place in the ground. It looks makeshift, and it is. I used these little pressure treated boards, and they were all warped up, but I didn't spend not $1 on it. And then also we need to speak about water. So I have them hanging from the ceiling, and basically what this wraps around the perimeter is all little spray systems. It's like little spray nozzles that I have misting every 4 hours on these for about 10 to 15 minutes. You don't want it to dry out, because that's how it's creating its root system, is from the top. And if you're trying to bottom water, well, where's the water trying to crawl into? It doesn't have a root system as well, so it can't absorb as well as it can from the top of the foliage. If you're able to do it by hand, you can do it every 4 hours, but the thing is that we're not able to. So we have this little special system that shoots out water about every 4 hours for 15 minutes. 15 minutes is a lot. I would rather do about 3 to 5 minutes, maybe even a little bit less than that. Figure out what works best for your system. It doesn't have to be special. It doesn't have to be so sophisticated. It just has to put water on the plants. Another thing, we keep these lights on 18 hours. We let them rest for a few hours and get back to growing, because that's what most important is, to get the roots going to make those little tubers. We have 2,000 watts of light running over a 4x8 sheet of plywood, and it has a bottom water system in it. So when they get a little bit older, we can pour water right in there, and they do fine from coming up from the bottom. All right, we're a little bit over 61 degrees, and that will be perfect optimal conditions. And just a few minutes, the gas heater will kick on, and we're going to try to put it around 65 to 70 degrees for these little things to get going and grow some life in them. A little side note, I know this place looks a little junky, and it is. And we are in an old building. It's an old commercial building that used to be around for, I don't know what they've done upstairs. I can actually hear people walking around right now. But we just have this little space that's rented, And if you look behind me, there's lights there, lights there, lights. There's 4 rows of lights, and there will probably be 5 this year on the far wall over there. But you can see all the cobwebs and everything going on, but it will be bright in here. And we already have some stuff growing, some dahlias right there, and then we'll just fill this place up. So everything you see here will completely transition to come grow over here in the next couple of months. Right in the middle of winter when it's this ice cold outside, they'll be right here, growing tall, right underneath of the lights, still selling to wholesalers. They're all misted. I checked every one of them to make sure that they have water on the foliage. That's the most important part, to make sure everything is hitting correctly. Then I have the lights here that I can link in the description. Maybe I can find this hose here and the nozzles that I had used. I'll try to find that and put it in the description. If I can't, I'm sorry. And the Sun Grow soil, the professional mix, I'll put that in the description. But here's the thing. Here's a review. Make sure that it's at least 60 degrees when you're trying to do these things. It's not a special thing if you do not have the hormone mix. There's no problem with that. Just stick it in the soil, pack it tightly, and then from that point, make sure that you're not bottom watering, and then that you have at least quite a bit of sunlight, at least 12 hours, I would say, and 60 to 80 degrees on the soil. And then you need your water. I'm putting it every 4 hours at 15 minutes, and then my lights are at 18 hours. And that's it. That's as simple as it is. We'll rinse and repeat the process, start over there to do more, and then once these are ready, we'll fill them out, put them over here, and it just restarts the cycle. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut the tops of these, keep cutting them back. These things are $5 a piece. So you can buy wholesale, but you have to buy hundreds at a time at $2 a piece. Well, these are $5 a piece if I'm going out and selling them. So look, imagine how much money I've saved from consumer to producer to be able to clone your own. And at this point, I think I could put around 300 clones here on the table at $5 a piece. Thanks for watching with the Flower Guy, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully I described it in a way that you're able to correspond with it. And if you are, please leave a like and a comment below, and that'll just help me, and maybe even share the video if it works for you.